Sports. We are the Fourth. We are St. Louis.
This is St. Louis Cardinals baseball. A dramatic win for the Cardinals in game number 2 last night. And this evening they'll look for a sweep. The Pittsburgh Pirates, the St. Louis Cardinals on Fox Sports Midwest. With Jim Hayes, Rick Horton, I'm Dan McLaughlin. Delighted to have you with us as we get you set for baseball here tonight. We know the starting pitching has been remarkable. Historic levels, really, when you think about the starters and the numbers they're putting up. Overlooked to an extent just how well the relievers have been this year as well.
Not a lot of bad moments late in games for the Cardinals because the bullpen has been solid. And solid may not be strong enough word. 1.99 ERA for the Cardinals bullpen. They have been led by their closer, Trevor Rosenthal, who's been good in this series. On Tuesday, 3 strikeouts in a row, picked up a save against Pittsburgh. Then again last night, closed it out again. He's tied with Melanson for the league lead in saves. Rosenthal has been outstanding. A lot of strikes and good velocity from Trevor.
And once again, it's a great matchup. The starters, Francisco Liriano, always a tough lefty. We'll see him tonight. He'll go for the Pirates. Lance Lynn for the St. Louis Cardinals. Cardinals looking for a sweep to continue their home dominance in 2015. Baseball next.
Tonight is the Cardinals. Game winner here tonight as the Cardinals hope to sweep the Pittsburgh Pirates here at home. We look at the Hyundai pitch arsenal of Lance Lynn. Four-seamer, sinker, cutter, change, and curve. But the four-seamer is the real difference for Lance Lynn. It's where he gets his strikeouts. He likes to go up in the zone, and the four-seamer has tremendous life to it. Hitters just cannot pick up that four-seamer of Lance Lynn. We'll see it in action here tonight. Cardinal baseball right around the corner on Fox Sports Midwest.
Midwest is brought to you by Budweiser. Make a plan to make it home. Save big money at Menards on all your home improvement needs. And visit your local Mid-America Chevy dealers for great prices on our all-new 2015 vehicles today. Meet me at the Stan the Man statue. How many Cardinal fans have done that over the years? And many have gathered here tonight at Busch Stadium. Early start and a beautiful evening for baseball. We take a look at the Pirates lineup. Leading off, the speedster Gregory Polanco, followed by Neil Walker, the switch hitter, then Andrew McCutchen. Jung Ho Gung, their shortstop, will bat cleanup. Then Pedro Alvarez with 16 homers. Francisco Cervelli, Travis Ishikawa, Sean Rodriguez, and Francisco Liriano. It was one of the plays of the night in game number 2. Polanco being thrown out in the first by Yadier Molina. Molina then encouraging the fans to get into it. It set the tone for the entire night.
A lot of emotion here at the ballpark last night. The Cardinals continue to win. We look at the bench for Clint Hurdle and the Pirates. Florimon, the switch hitter. Marte, who got hurt here yesterday. Ramirez, Stewart, and Morse on the bench for Pittsburgh. And pitching for St. Louis, Lance Lynn, start number 22, 9-6 record. He has been tremendous all season long.
First pitch by Lance Lynn is a strike, and we're underway. Gregory Polanco is riding a 6-game hitting streak, 12 for his last 25. Picked up a triple the other day in game 1 of this series, and he was caught in that first inning last night for the 8th time. 4th most in the National League in that category, to go along with 20 steals. The 1-1. Now it's 1-2, and there's that fastball that rises from Lance Lynn.
One thing I know, if he catches up to this fastball, hits a ground ball to Colton Wong, he's going to get rid of it in a hurry.
We saw in game 1 he beat out a routine grounder as that breaking ball just missed on the outside corner. 2 balls, 2 strikes. The Pirates come in 4th in the National League in team average at .259. Numbers across the board in the big leagues way down in offense. That's way inside. 3-2. There's a look at Clint Hurdle. We both were remarking how well he is starting to move because he had his hips replaced.
Yeah, and it took a while for him to kind of get back to normal, but he's so much healthier, happier, and has a nice ball club too.
Polanco just got a piece as we take a look at our Kia in the driver's seat. And tonight we'll highlight Gregory Polanco, right fielder, leadoff man, most hits against St. Louis this year. Polanco with 18, then Gene Segura. Gung is on that list, LeMahieu, and Starling Marte, who is not in the lineup, as Rick mentioned. 3-2 pitch, and a fly ball lifted into center. Borges is on the move with plenty of room. 1 away. Dobbs Tire and Auto Center's Cardinals defense tonight with Grichuk shifting to left field. Peter Borges in center. Jason Hayward is in right. Matt Carpenter, your third baseman. Peralta and Wong up the middle. Steven Piscotty at first, and Yadier Molina is behind the plate. Neil Walker is 0 for 8 in this series. Wound up being a costly error on Walker on what would have been an inning-ending double play. In game 2 last night, Alvarez couldn't make the pick, and the Cardinals would score 2 runs on that play. See the shades on for Jason Hayward. Early starts, we talk about it a lot, can be a very tough sun field for the right fielder. The 2-0 pitch. 2 balls, 1 strike.
Lance Lynn having a little issue with the breaking pitch in the early going. He's thrown 3 that have, one had slipped, one was outside, and one he kind of overcooked inside. So he's trying to get that release point. And one thing you love about Yadier Molina, he won't stop calling it. I think that's part of his genius. He believes in you at times where you don't believe in yourself.
I think a great example of that was Carlos Martinez in game 1. We thought Martinez would be lifted after the 6th, and it was Molina that went to Mike Matheny and said, no, no, no.
He's just fine. As Walker skies one into center field, Borges is back. He'll look up, and it's off the wall. Walker to second base and on his way to third. Relay is not in time. One out triple for Neil Walker. Borges was spun around in center field, couldn't come up with it. And Neil Walker winds up in third.
Long way to go for Peter Borges. Thought he might be able to run that one down. By the time he gets to the wall, he's a little bit off to the side of where he wanted to be, and really didn't have a chance to get to the wall and then get set. And Walker, who runs well, with a triple.
So here's McCutchen. Leads their club in home runs and RBIs. Infield is drawn in, and Lynn has had good success against Andrew McCutchen. Pirates center fielder is just 6 for 41, 146 average against the Cardinal righty. We've also noticed too, Peter Borges plays a little bit more shallow than the other Cardinals center fielders, so a long way to go on that play.
Part of playing shallow is he's got the speed to be able to track the ball down and maybe just a step, I wouldn't say slow, but a step behind that ball because it was hit so hard off the bat of Walker. Still hopeful that he'd run it down, but would have been a terrific play if he'd have been able to make that.
Not to make excuses for Borges, but doesn't get a lot of playing time either. He's been tested early in this game.
Interesting, he's not wearing the shades. We see him squinting a little bit as he's looking in from center field, and tough for an outfielder, as you mentioned, this time of day to pick up the baseball.
Fans still filing in. 2 balls, 1 strike on McCutchen, and it's 1-0 Pirates. That's a fair ball down into the corner. And McCutchen will dig for second base. Dug out of the corner by Randall Grichuk. And it's 1-0 Pittsburgh. RBI number 77.
McCutchen had a rough start to this series, but he has shown why he's an all-star, perennial MVP candidate. Pitch off the plate in, had good sink to it. He's dropped the bat head. Back-to-back extra base hits. We really like this guy, Danny. This guy can sting a baseball as well.
We've noticed how the ball jumps off his bat. I mentioned it the other night. His numbers in Korea, where he was an everyday shortstop, eye-popping. Now this is a different brand of baseball, better league, but he's made the adjustment from what we've seen from the earlier portions of the season. McCutchen, good speed at second base. Outfield is straight away. 1 out and an 0-1.
I'm not sure the Pirates knew what they had when they first signed him. They saw those numbers, they reacted, they signed him. Well, he is 28 years of age, so he's a rookie, but an older rookie.
Ground ball backhanded by Carpenter. Looks back, McCutchen. Throw is high and air on Carpenter. It's into the seats, and Andrew McCutchen will score to make it 2-0 Pittsburgh on the 11th error by Matt Carpenter.
Carpenter does everything right on this play until you get to the throw. Nice play on the backhand, looks the runner back, and then just airmails it.
See a little frustration from Lance Lynn. The ball that was hit into center that Borges did not come up with. Now this play, and all of a sudden you look up and you're down 2 runs.
It's got to stay in it and move on. So easy to say that.
In the air, center field. Borges looks up, and just like that, 4-0 Pittsburgh on a home run by Alvarez. His second in this series. That's number 17. And the Pirates have come out swinging the bats here in game number 3.
Talk about a ball jumping off a bat. We saw this from Alvarez early in the series. A ball down. We talked about how quick his bat has been. There you see it. Result, 2-run shot, number 17 for Alvarez, and an early Pirate lead.
4-0 Pittsburgh. Alvarez with RBIs 55 and 56. And this is already pitch number 21 by Lance Lynn. Francisco Cervelli, the hitter. And that's strike one.
So as I said, Dan, when something bad happens, you turn the page, and then you get to the next page, and you don't like that one either, you have to turn another one.
And Cervelli is hit by the pitch. Things unraveling early on for Lance Lynn. Let's turn to our Toyota keys to the game with Rick Horton.
I think the first key to the game is let's start over.
That'd be nice.
But my keys that I gave earlier on were don't chase Liriano. The Cardinals haven't even had a chance to look at him yet, but Liriano's a tough pitcher, and you got to make sure he throws strikes. And who's on first? It's our first chance to see Stephen Piscotty play first base, and this could be a sign of where the Cardinals may be going down the road. Perhaps Matt Holliday comes back. You'll see Piscotty maybe at first base more often. So be interesting to watch him throughout this game to see how he adapts to playing first base. You say it's easy to play first base, but you watch what Alvarez has done in this series and you realize how it can be a game changer if you don't play it well.
Just the 11th career start in left field for Travis Ishikawa. Runner at first is Cervelli, and Lynn needs a double play. A ball taken inside. Calling the balls and strikes, Larry Vanover, the crew chief here tonight. Vic Carapazza at first base. Adam Hamari at second. Ron Kolpa down at third. Here's a 1-0. Remember, the last start for Lance Lynn against Pittsburgh was back on July 10th. That was his shortest outing of the year. In that game, 4 innings, 9 hits, gave up 5. All were earned. And tonight he's recorded 1 out and given up 4 runs. Hayward coming on. Can't find it. Drops in for a hit. And it's that kind of night so far for Lance Lynn. He had no idea where that baseball was. Fourth hit in the inning for Pittsburgh.
Bit of a looping liner off the bat of Ishikawa, but if Hayward sees this ball, he catches it. But he's got the hands up, doesn't know where it is at all. It just has to pick it up. And a very tough break. You know, that's even one of those that I don't think teammate communication really helps much. You can say in, but in where?
He had no idea where that was. And here's Sean Rodriguez. We talked a lot about Rodriguez. His dad is a coach in the Cardinals system. This young man is a good player.
He is.
They feel he may be the best defender anywhere, infield or outfield. Think about that statement when you've got guys like Polanco and Marte and McCutchen, and there are some that follow the Pirates and think he's the best defensive player on the team.
Pretty high praise.
He's bounced around a little bit, and there's also some that believe he could be an everyday player. 0-2 pitch, taken inside. Liriano is on deck.
Mentioned his dad, Johnny, minor league coach. Won when he coached at Quad Cities one year with the Cardinals, and on his team there were some names you might recognize: Segrist, Manus, Rosenthal, Wong. 4 of his players.
Pretty good group.
Actually 5. Martinez.
Little tapper, that's foul. In the minor leagues, the last, I'd say, 3 to 5 years, the Cardinals have had a handful of championships at various levels, and that's a reason why. Major league talent down there that eventually made its way up. Tough inning here for Lance Lynn. The triple by Walker, McCutchen a double, air by Carpenter, home run from Alvarez, Cervelli hit by a pitch, Ishikawa, Sun aided base hit. And now it's 2-2 on the 8th place hitter.
So it feels like you've lost the game if you're Lance Lynn right now. I mean, honestly, that's how you feel. But you have to fight that feeling and believe there's a possibility that your team can come back. Just the first inning. But you've got to fight it. I mean, you got to fight it big time.
31 pitches here in the first inning. And if there's anybody you really don't worry so much about the pitch count with, it is Lance Lynn. He's certainly capable of still giving you 5-6 innings here tonight, if not more.
Well, Danny, I've said this many times. I don't worry about pitch count as much as I worry about pitch count relative to how many you may throw in a particular inning or how many you throw under stress. And he's had a lot of those already. Under stress, and all of them in the first inning.
3-2 pitch. Got him. Went with the breaking ball. First strikeout for Lance Lynn. Out number 2, and it brings in Liriano. Already Tyler Lyons. Cardinals not liking what they're seeing here from Lance Lynn. And Lyons hasn't pitched in quite a while, so the starter that's been moved to the bullpen here in the major leagues could give you a number of innings coming out of the pen tonight. Liriano in his last start homered.
That's the 4th curveball that Lance Lynn has thrown that hasn't been sharp, and we noticed that early on. Guess what? The Pirates did too. So they eliminated it, started looking for the fastball, and they've handled Lynn pretty well in this first inning.
And a chance to get out of this first inning right now with just 4 runs. Liriano not known for his bat at all. You know, some pitchers you'll say, hey, this guy can swing the bat. Cardinals have a couple of them. You think about the Cubs and some of their pitchers that can really swing the bat. Liriano is 098, and he's not one that you'd say, okay, this guy's going to burn me. You got to be able to put him away.
As you mentioned, he's homered in one of his last 1 games, though.
Shocking everybody.
I bet.
Speaking of the Cubs, I think of a game in which they scored 5 in the first off of Carlos Martinez. You may remember this game, and then the Cardinals came back with a grand slam by Reynolds in the bottom of the inning, and then won the game eventually 10-9. Long way to go before this one is through, obviously, here tonight. 2-2 the count. How about that? Base hit into left. They'll wave him in. They'll test Randall Grichuk. Throw to the plate. It's there and drop on Molina. Run scores. 5-0 Pittsburgh. A short hop to Molina. Couldn't come up with it. 5-0 Pirates.
There's the throw from Grichuk. Yachty actually blocking the plate, so Cervelli's able to kind of knock him over. Yachty just not able to get that short hop. Things are just not going the Cardinals' way.
The second time here in the first inning, it's Polanco. Fly to center, first time up, and rips that foul. There are some hard hit balls right now against Lance Lynn. And if he doesn't get Polanco, you wonder if this is it for him with Lyons loose and ready to go.
Well, again, trying to find that curveball. They just tried the situation. Hey, well, we'll just throw it to the pitcher. How bad could that be? Well, he hung it out over the plate, and Liriano took it the other way. Really wasn't a bad throw by Grichuk. When the pitcher's at the plate, outfielders have to be at a depth where they can throw the runner out at the plate. There's no sense in playing so deep that you can't throw out Cervelli at the plate, and Grichuk almost did that.
Base hit into left center field. Another run will score. It's 6-0 Pittsburgh. And that's going to be it for Lynn, I believe. And sure enough, as we say that, Mike Matheny pops out of the dugout for Lynn's shortest outing of the year, 2/3 of an inning, and they knock out the Cardinals starter. In a game that the Pirates desperately need to put up a W here tonight, they've come out swinging the bats.
Didn't see this coming.
No. AAA picked up his 8th victory in the minor leagues, and back in the major leagues, the Cardinals need some innings from him tonight.
31 strikeouts in 28 innings. You like that. The 12 walks is a little high. I really see Tyler Lyons as potentially being a guy that could be a nice middle to long reliever on a team. He's a guy that can be very tough on left-handers, and he'll have 4 of them in the lineup here the rest of the way, with Walker turning around to the right side. And the Hyundai pitch arsenal for Lyons: 4-seamer, sinker, and the slider that I talked about. That's pretty nasty at 27% of the time. That's his best pitch. Will also throw a changeup and a curveball, but a chance to be perhaps the left-handed Carlos Villanueva.
That's ripped into left center field. Another run will score. That's Liriano to make it 7-0 Cardinals, or rather Pittsburgh. Cardinals down by 7 here in the first. That's the 7th plate appearance the Pirates have had with runners in scoring position here tonight already.
Even the little things not going right for the Cardinals here in this game. Jumping on the first pitch, Walker almost gave up hitting from the right side in spring training because he's much better left-handed, but then the ball goes out to Grichuk and he throws to the wrong base. Throws that ball into third base instead of into second. Walker could have taken an extra base there, and I guess they decided to show some mercy.
And McCutchen now digs in for the 2nd time here in the first inning. He doubled down the left field line, picked up an RBI, number 77. He leads their team in home runs and RBIs. 7-0 Pittsburgh. 0-2. In all 12 meetings this year, the games have been decided by 3 runs or less. So we haven't had many games like this. 7-0.
I've got a great idea. Let's get Matt Holliday back up here again.
That's when the rally started last night.
Let's not wait.
Well, I hope fans enjoyed that. I've had, and I know you too, so much response from fans on the street today, just various stops around town and on Twitter, mentioning how much they enjoyed that interview with him. And again, we hope we gave you a different side to Matt Holliday. He was outstanding.
He did a terrific job. So much fun to have him up here. I had a fan, Dan, contact me and said that he's embarrassed of that he thought a certain way about Matt Holliday, thought he was one kind of guy, and after watching this he was so felt so bad about how he had made a judgment on Holiday, which was clearly wrong, as Matt talked about the kids and his heart for them and how much he cared about them. The guy said, the first thing I do when I get up this morning, I'm going to go out and buy a Holiday jersey.
That's great.
To make sure I don't do that with other people ever again.
Force play at second. The Pirates strand 2. 7 hits, 7 runs. They knock out Lynn. Let's see if the Cardinals can't come back. Long way to go. Seven runs, 3 were earned, 6 hits, 1 strikeout, gave up a home run, and 41 pitches. He's not the first, won't be the last, but a long, long night for Lance Lynn, undoubtedly. Francisco Liriano getting the start tonight for the Pittsburgh Pirates. 22nd start, record of 7-6. And when he's right, that slider is on. He is as tough as anybody.
So one of the keys we talked about with him is not chasing, but he's so hard not to chase. He's got that nasty slider and the good changeup. He's been really good against the Cardinal left-handers in the lineup today. Carpenter, Hayward, and Wong are combined 9 for 51 against Liriano. Each one of them a bunch of strikeouts. And the Cardinal that's hit him the best, and the reason he's playing center today, is Peter Borges.
For Lance Lynn, this is his shortest outing of his major league career. The previous lows, he had 2 games in which he went 2 innings. One of those games was at Cincinnati in 2012. And then last year against the Dodgers, he went 2 innings and gave up 6 earned. I guess the toughest part about it, you know, you're getting beat up out there. Now you got to wait till that next start. It seems like an eternity, I'm sure.
So long, and you got to, you know, you're reliving every moment of basically 10 batters you faced, and you know that's not a good kind of sample size for what your year has been, but that's what you got to wear for the next 5 days, because that's what is most recent.
Leadoff walk to Matt Carpenter. So Carpenter, now Grichuk and Peralta here in the first. Then Jason Hayward, Yadier Molina, Colton Wong, Stephen Piscotty, Peter Borges, and Tyler Lyons. On the bench for the Cardinals, Brandon Moss from the left side, then Reynolds, Cosman, Cruz. If you're wondering why no Mark Reynolds against the lefty, not very good numbers against Liriano, and Piscotty has good numbers so far against lefties, so it made some sense.
Hard to keep Grichuk out of the lineup, but it's becoming hard to keep Piscotty out of the lineup too.
Which presents a great dilemma for Mike Matheny as this season goes forward and guys get healthier. If you get a Matt Adams back, and Matt Holliday, as he told us last night, would like to be back in the first or second week in September ideally. 1 ball, 1 strike on Grichuk. And that'll drop for a base hit. First 2 have reached, and it brings in Peralta. The Hyundai pitch arsenal for Francisco Liriano.
It's hardly been the pitcher's duel we expected. Look at the choices for Liriano. The sinker slider that we talked about, that's roughly 72% of the time. Also has the changeup 20% of the time, and the 4-seamer occasionally, but mostly you're going to see sinker, slider, changeup from Liriano. What I've really noticed from him is his changeup and his slider out of his hand look the same, and they break in different directions, and they're the same speed. And I think that's very, very tough to track when you're in the batter's box.
And a fastball down and in to Johnny Peralta. Liriano's had his issues. He's thrown only 5 innings in the last 2 weeks. August 4th, the start against the Cubs was cut short after 2 innings after a long rain delay. And he lasted only 3 innings in his next start against the Dodgers. So it's not like he's coming in here pitching his best this year.
And Cervelli reminding him that pretty good idea to throw strikes and get ahead when you've got a 7-run lead. Now that's not something that Liriano doesn't know already, but and just an indication of him not being sharp lately, that he's kind of allowed that to happen here in the early going.
In that last start, 79 pitches to get through 3. For Clint Hurdle, the second half of the pitching for the Pirates has not been very good. 25th in ERA, 4.79 here in the second half. Peralta lines it to second. Runners back to the bags for the first out. Dobbs Tire Auto Center's defense for the Pittsburgh Pirates. Travis Ishikawa in left field. Andrew McCutchen, your center fielder. Gregory Polanco, tremendous arm, good speed in right. Rodriguez, Gung, Walker, and Alvarez on the infield. Cervelli is behind the plate. Jason Hayward with 3 multi-hit games in the past 5. 1 out, 2 on.
Dan, in the open, we talked about how good the Cardinals bullpen has been, and it's going to certainly get tested in this game. A lot of innings out of that Cardinal bullpen. One of the things we liked about the bullpen is not just what happens in innings 7, 8, 9, but it's what Carlos Villanueva has meant to this team in games like this. There's not been very many, but he's been a guy that could go out there and go 4 or 5 innings and put zeros up and kind of save everybody else, and that's Tyler Lyons' job right now.
2 balls, no strikes on Jason Hayward. 2-1. We'll hear from Jim Hayes coming up in the second inning on Jason Hayward. He had some thoughts about the potential of staying in St. Louis with free agency not too far away. 3-1. Chance to go hammering right here. Takes a pitch inside. Ball 4. Second walk in the inning after Liriano and the Pirates were given a 7-run lead. This is how you do let teams back into games right now.
How close is this pitch? Just off the plate. Good call by Larry Vanover, our crew chief, who's behind the plate. That's going to bring out Ray Search, who spent a lot of time walking from the dugout to the mound. When we see him, he's not afraid to go out there and share his wisdom. Cardinals with the bases loaded. Opportunity to get closer here with 1 swing of the bat.
So the inning started with a walk to Carpenter, base hit by Grichuk to left. Peralta lined out sharply to second. Hayward walks, and now Molina. 3 of his last 4 hits have gone for extra bases. couple of doubles and a triple. And this gets interesting. I mean, I know it's 7-0, but bases loaded here in the first. Liriano does not look sharp. You got a chance to get back in this game, or at least get some runs on the board and chip away.
I'm going to get our folks to look into this, but the last time we had a game like this, I asked, what is it, a full moon? And it was. But I'm told it's not.
First pitch hit out of play. Liriano is thinking double play, regroup. Molina is thinking, let's get the Cardinals on the board. Oh, 1 in the dirt. 1 ball, 1 strike. Here's a 1-1 pitch. Line into left center. That's a base hit. 1 run is in. Grichuk, who hesitated, still will be waved in. Throw into third. Hayward is out. 2 runs do score, and it's 7-2 Pittsburgh. Molina with RBIs 41 and 42.
Certainly showing that Liriano is gettable. There's a strong throw from center field and on the money to get Hayward. He's out. He has taken more extra bases than any Cardinal. There have been times where he's been thrown out. I still appreciate the aggressiveness.
One on and 2 outs. And a ground ball slowly hit to the right side. Alvarez flips to Liriano.
Danny, it's not a full moon, but it is a waning crescent.
Thanks. That explains it. Up real-time highlights and pitch tracking info on all of your out-of-market fantasy players, live or on demand. Just visit MLB.tv for details. 9 runs combined in the first inning. Liriano still in the game, gave up 2. Lynn was knocked out after a very tough start. Shortest outing of his career, 2/3, 7 runs scored. It's Gung, Alvarez, and Cervelli against Tyler Lyons. Came in the first with 2 out and 2 on. Gave up a base hit to Neil Walker. There was an RBI that was charged to Lynn, that run. Then McCutchen grounded into a force play to end the top of the first. First pitch, ground ball to second, taken there by Colton Long. 1 away.
Dan, we've talked a lot about the high innings of some of the young Cardinal pitchers. Most notably, you think about Michael Wacha and Carlos Martinez in the rotation. Well, Tyler Lyons could become an important guy to kind of save some of those innings and maybe do a spot start here or there. And not sure he would be the guy you'd necessarily pick. Maybe lengthen out, do a 6-man rotation potentially as the season goes on, just to get a little extra rest. Not that that's your best foot forward, but maybe it's a way to keep the innings down. So Tyler could have an important role on this team,
and maybe an important appearance for him in terms of some of the roles as you're talking about in the bullpen, and as you mentioned, rightfully so, at the big lead the Cardinals have, as well as they have played. You get into September, you could skip a start or two, and again, as you said, Lyons could be one of your choices.
Yeah, he's a he's got the nasty slider. We just saw 2 of them in a row there. And so what he's really doing is, in some ways, you're always doing this, is auditioning. Here's your chance. Show them what you got. When you do well, they give you another chance. Just the way it is.
Alvarez, a 2-run homer to center field. His first time up. Cardinals at 33 games above 500. There's a broken bat lifted into right center, and it drops in for a hit. So they have matched the 2005 team, which finished 33 games above 500. Join us for Academy Sports and Outdoors Autograph Nights. The 5th of 6 of those nights is tomorrow. 2 current Cardinals will sign autographs in the Ford Plaza for fans 15 and under. 2 former Cardinals sign for fans of all ages. Visit cardinals.com/promotions. Second hit allowed by Lyons, and it brings in Francisco Cervelli, who was hit by a pitch and scored a run, and now hits into a double play. 6-4, 3 on the double plays. Piscotty stays on the bag. Check in with Jim Hayes.
Well, Hayward's in a good place. He's really got it going. He's hitting about .330 since the All-Star break. He says he's having a lot of fun this season, and he really likes his teammates. He told me it's not just a series. He says Cardinal fans make it seem like a playoff game every night. So does he think about being a Cardinal beyond the season? Hayward told me, quote, only when people ask me about it. He told me being in St. Louis has, quote, been a beautiful experience for me and my family, but for now, I'm just focused on trying to win games. Dan, the Cards are doing plenty of winning. Hayward has played a big part. Who knows what's going to happen?
How about John Mozeliak? Has he commented publicly on Jason Hayward and where he sits in the plans?
Well, he thinks Hayward is a good fit for the Cardinals, but as you know, the general manager isn't going to talk about contracts or where they're at currently as to whether or not to give a player a contract or an extension for that matter. I do know they like Hayward. I do know they're keeping a close eye on him, but Dan, to be honest, they also have other options, so they're going to have to weigh them.
All right, thank you, Jimmy. Here's Stephen Piscotty, who is one of those potential options.
Well, when you talk about fit, and I think it's a great conversation, fit has to be, is it the right guy for the right team in the right situation in the right city? You would say yes to all of those things, but the fit also requires the right money at the right time for the right player in the right year of his contract. And so
sure.
I think that's kind of be the decision maker at some point, is how much will it cost, and that's a natural thing for John Mozeliak to be concerned about. It's also a natural thing for Jason Hayward to be concerned about.
Piscotty strikes out. First of the night for Liriano. And it brings in Peter Borges. Rick told you about the numbers for Borges against Liriano. Very good, 9 for 28. So his first start here in the month of August. Primarily, he's been used as a pinch runner or late replacement defensively for the Cardinals.
Very few pinch hit at bats. We saw him in a sacrifice bunt roll a couple of nights ago, but not much beyond that. So you'd have to think the timing may be a little off for Peter Borges.
Nothing can replace live action.
And there's no question about that. I do have an update, by the way, a lunar update for you. That we are, of course, in the waning crescent with 1% illumination of the moon, but we are experiencing a time where there's a great meteor shower, Dan, as many of our Cardinal fans are reminding me, and I just thought you'd want to know that.
Awesome. 1-2 the count. I'm trying to get into this game. I'm trying to talk about Borges and why he's playing, and Piscotty and Hayward, and you're telling me about some lunar shower that I don't care about.
I'm trying to educate you.
And Borges strikes out.
Sorry I took you off your game.
You know what? You're going to have to read the promo right now, because I got to draw back.
It's now time for you to tweet your strongest fan photo. Use hashtag MWDataStrongFan, and you just might see yourself in an upcoming broadcast, Dan McLaughlin. It's brought to you by T-Mobile.
Regrouped. Let's do it.
Good.
Here's Tyler Lyons. You really did a nice job on that read. Well done.
Thanks, Dan.
But Matt Holliday now, he pretty good on the read. And then you called me out on how I read the disclaimer. Made sure you just cut me down.
Well, let me say something else about Matt Holliday being up here. Fun to be with a guy that you could tell his teammates were at work down there on the field. You could sense his excitement.
Oh, yeah.
He knew what was going on. He understood kind of the nuances clearly of what was happening internally, and it really just fun to be with him.
2-2 the count with 2 outs, nobody on. Little inside also, the swing of the man on deck, Matt Carpenter, that he gave us. 3-2 on Lyons.
Told us about Jose Oquendo's verbal assaults on you when you're taking your lead off at third base. Take more. Just enough to make you nervous.
I think sometimes teams play not scared, but not aggressive enough. I mean, it's hard to make plays, to make the throws, to say, look, I'm going to challenge that right fielder to throw me out at third. Those types of things. And a ground ball that's rolled to Alvarez. He'll take it himself. Cardinals go in order. Dave Murray is next to me. Awesome. thirds or less. Shelby Miller, his start was short because he was hit on the elbow. Miguel Bautista, you may remember, Tony La Russa started him because there was the threat of rain. So he went with a bullpen start. Mark Mulder was trying to come back from a shoulder issue. He lasted a third of an inning. And then Anthony Reyes, Matt Morris, those were just tough outings for them. Doesn't happen very often, as that graphic shows you.
And some pretty good pitchers on that graphic as well.
Miguel Bautista, remember when he hit Tino Martinez? He was pitching for Arizona at the time. That was a Sunday afternoon at Busch Stadium 2.
He threw the ball at him from close range.
Yes. That was an old-fashioned brawl.
Oh, yeah.
It looks like that baby's really having fun.
Not happy with the score, evidently.
Get that out of my way. And how are you two doing? Here's Travis Ishikawa.
Your concern for the fans is commendable.
Thank you. Ishikawa with a base hit into right. Sun aided. Hayward couldn't pick it up, and it dropped in for a bloop hit. 1 ball, 1 strike. If you're just joining us, it's Tyler Lyons in relief of Lance Lynn, who lasted 2/3. 1-1 pitch. Hit the other way, and that's trouble. Grichuk on the move. It's slicing and foul. I can't help it. Any Cub fan watching, I'm sorry, but when I see a ball down the left field line, I think Bartman. And by the way, the Cubs are on fire right now. They won again today. Their 7th straight. 9-2 the final over Milwaukee. They've won 13 of their last 14. They hit 5 home runs today. And currently 1 game back of Pittsburgh as we play right now. 8 back of St. Louis.
I think Pittsburgh's feeling that a little bit.
Absolutely. Last year on this date, they were 15 games under. Now they are 17 games above the 500 mark. So quite the turnaround for the Chicago Cubs. The 2-2. And that's a strike. First strikeout for Tyler Lyons. Toyota Cardinals live all week long. We're profiling this year's Cardinals Hall of Fame inductees. Tomorrow, a look at the great Bob Forsch. Toyota Cardinals live tomorrow at 6:30 on Fox Sports Midwest. And I've talked to you many times about Bob Forsch. And you hold him among so many of your former teammates in high regard, but he's in a special category as Sean Rodriguez digs in.
You know, Matt Holliday was talking a lot about the guys you asked him, the guys that were important to him, that were the veteran guys that kind of led him and cared about him and taught him. And Bob Forsch and Bruce Sutter were those guys for me.
My understanding is Bruce Sutter will be speaking on behalf of the Forsch family.
That's terrific.
Mike Shannon will talk on behalf of George Kissel. The Hall of Famers will be there. It's open to the public, so come on down Ballpark Village this weekend. It's really a neat ceremony.
I tell the story many times. My first game in the big leagues, I gave up a home run on my first pitch and a double on my second pitch. Finally got a guy out and came in, and Bob Forsch and Bruce Sutter met me in Candlestick at the dugout. They both came up to me, kind of put their arm around me and said, "Hey, you're doing a great job at throwing strikes, kid." And I thought, well, isn't that nice that these guys came and kind of supported me, and I found out later that they went back in the corner of the dugout and laughed at me.
But that's the game.
Oh, it is.
Those are the things you never forget. Like your first opening day with Bob Forsch.
Oh, boy. Always teaching.
There's Colton Wong, 2 down. Here's Francisco Liriano, picked up a 2-out RBI base hit to left. Back in the first inning.
And the honor of being in the Cardinals Hall of Fame, I think, is only going to grow. I mean, I think it's been an awesome thing so far, and the ceremonies have been very meaningful. But I think as kind of the years go on, I just think the reverence of that moment, and it's not the same as obviously the National Baseball Hall of Fame in Cooperstown, and that's got its special part in baseball, of course. But I think this, for Cardinal fans, is going to become even more and more special as time goes on.
Here's a ground ball that's hit to second base. Colton Long. Nice job so far by Tyler Lyons. And the Cardinals have the top of the lineup coming up in the home half of the third. League Central starters are DraftKings players to watch. Head to DraftKings.com, enter promo code CARDS. Lance Lynn near 10, Liriano over 10. And Lance, in this ball game tonight, struck out 1. That was Sean Rodriguez back in the first inning. Carlos Martinez was very good in game 1 of this series. 8 innings, 3 earned. Last night, Michael Wacha, 6 innings, 2 earned. And then the job of the bullpen. The top of the lineup here for St. Louis with Carpenter, Grichuk, and Peralta.
We get so spoiled, Dan, but in this series alone, 5 of the 6 starters are among the top 15 in the National League as far as earned run average. Just pitching has been so good all season long. The Cardinals have had a lot of it. So has Pittsburgh. Won't be easy to get to the Pirates bullpen either. That's been a strong point for them. In fact, their bullpen's been a little better than their starters lately. The ERA for Pittsburgh's been a little bit shaky since the All-Star game.
Here's Matt Carpenter, walked his first time up. The Pirates have done this before, in which they've played it 7 in the first.
Yes, they have.
Turned out to be a pretty famous night in Pirates history. A base hit into center field. Carpenter on base for the second time.
And it's worth following up on that, but let's first look at the run differential that the Cardinals have had throughout the season, plus 124. That means they haven't had a lot of nights like this. Not a lot of games where you give up a lot of runs. At plus 124, way better than the teams that follow, and all 4 of those teams having good years. But the Cardinals have been so stingy with the runs. And when it comes down to it, you can get all the stats you want in baseball and talk about all the new types of stats, but the one that matters most is how many runs are you scoring and how many are you giving up. That's the bottom line. However you get there, doesn't really matter. Score runs, don't give up runs. Win games.
Grichuk a single to left. First time up. That famous night concerned a pretty famous walk even to this day for the Pirates.
So you're telling me there's another game where the Pirates scored 7 runs in the first inning. And as I remember the story of that game, Jim Rooker made the comment, and I think the game stretched from 7 to 10 runs, in fact.
It got to be 10-0.
And he made the comment that if the Pirates lose that game, he would walk back home.
They were in Philly.
They were in Philadelphia. And he said he'd walk back to Pittsburgh, which is not next door. And they did.
He did it.
And he did.
The walk raised thousands of dollars for the Bob Prince charities. And what was really cool what they did, Rooker also helped a former minor league teammate who had multiple sclerosis, gave him $10,000 to buy a van equipped with a lift. And it was what they said the hard part was going through the farms in Pennsylvania. It was fertilizer season. So the smell was a little rough on that walk.
But he was true to his word.
It took them 13 days to do the walk as the ball scoots away and Carpenter stays put.
Got knocked out of a game in Pittsburgh, went into the clubhouse, and Jim Rooker was doing the game on the radio for the Pirates. And as I kind of had a bad day, not quite as bad as Lance Lynn's today, but a bad day, I came in and I picked off a guy to end the inning, and Jim Rooker was saying on the radio while I was in the clubhouse that I have the best move in the National League, and I better have a good move with all the hits I give up.
It's hit down the third base line and foul.
So I'm glad he had to do that long walk.
So it's 13 days, 320 miles on foot in the autumn fertilizer season in Pennsylvania, the countryside.
So if the Cardinals come back and win this game, are you suggesting that I walk all the way home?
Maybe you walk to Pittsburgh.
I think home is
a little better.
Close, far enough.
Here's a 1-1 pitch to Peralta. I'm assuming our buddy Al Raboski is listening and watching right now. Never misses a minute. You know that.
I do know that.
So over 10 years ago, late in the season, I'm set to get married. And Al says if Edmonds or somebody hits a walk-off homer, you're going to shave your head, which sent my mother-in-law into a tailspin and my wife-to-be as that ball scoots through Cervelli. So what do the Cardinals do? They come back, they hit the walk-off home run. It was not the player, by the way, that we had said. But Brian McCann, yeah, there it was, Jim Edmonds. Brian McCann, who works in our truck, the evil genius that he is, decided to doctor the tape from the night before. And Al said, I have the proof. We played it on air and said, you're shaving your head. Now, what do you say to the Mad Hungarian when he does that? You can't challenge him.
We didn't really ask you. He told you?
Yes. So not only was my mother-in-law and my wife-to-be, and still is, in a panic, I was in the panic. Al, I've never forgotten that. Maybe I've got one coming back for him.
In other words, somebody's going to be mad at you no matter what happens.
Exactly. And thanks a lot, Brian McCann. Thought I could trust you. Apparently not. One out and 2 on for Jason Hayward. Hayward came up in the first inning with 2 on and walked to load the bases. Then Molina singled to account for the 2 runs for St. Louis.
Dan, the walks with a big lead are almost inexcusable. I mean, I know he's not trying to do it. I get that. But
but it potentially could lead to a big inning. One swing of the bat, the Cardinals are down by 2, and they're right back in the game. Third walk issued by Liriano, and he falls behind 2 balls, no strikes.
Nice night for a walk.
Two and one. Thought it was interesting how Clint Hurdle in game 1 stuck with Jeff Locke, and it cost him. He got burned. Locke was on the ropes in the 5th, did not go to his bullpen, and the Cardinals were able to get to Locke and then shut down the rest of the way the offense of the Pirates, and it's now 2-2.
Maybe a little uneasy feeling right now for Clint Hurdle as his game is starting to unfold a bit here. He knows what the Cardinals are capable of doing. He's got a pitcher that does not have great command, and Nick Leyva shaking his head a bit too.
The 2-2 pitch. And Hayward, a late swing, tied up, and strikes out. Number 4 tonight for Liriano. Two outs, 2 on. And Molina sends a fly ball into right. Backing up a bit, Polanco now will come in a step or 2. And he puts it away. Cardinals strand 2. They have left 3 on thus far. 7-2 Pittsburgh. StubHub, you can grab Cardinals tickets all season long, even at the last minute, and even if the game is sold out. So head to StubHub, the official fan-to-fan ticket marketplace of the Cardinals. Youngster was born during that 7-run inning for Pittsburgh. Congratulations to that couple. So we have had some good news here at the ballpark.
We have.
New Cardinal fan is here.
Congratulations.
We head to the 4th, and it's the top of the lineup. Polanco, Walker, and Andrew McCutchen. Polanco, an RBI single. Good breaking ball, and you see major leaguers do that. That's a good breaking ball.
That's what excites you about Tyler Lyons. He does not throw particularly hard with the fastball, but the slider can be devastating.
Grichuk going back and spun around and makes the catch as that ball carried all the way to the track.
This game has had such a strange feel to it. A lot of just odd things happening so far. He almost turned the wrong way on that ball. Does kind of catch up and makes the play over the other shoulder. Switches shoulders, makes the play. And, you know, you think about a game like this, Dan, Cardinals trailing early 7-0. Their pitching has dominated and really led this team all season long. I'm sure the hitters would love to say, you know what, our turn. Let's see if we can't win this game and put it all on our shoulders. So certainly plenty of outs left. Maybe it'll happen.
Neil Walker was the first man that Lions saw when he came in relief in the first inning of Lance Lynn. 0-2 pitch. You did both. You closed. You were middle relief, setup guy. You started. What about the idea of Tyler Lyons? You're not thinking about it every fifth day, the build up to that start. You're just thrust into action. You don't think about it. The mental aspect, yeah, you're into the game, don't get me wrong, and you come prepared every single day, but it's not like a start.
Right. You don't know you're starting.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think sometimes that's better. And by the way, I was only a closer when everybody was hurt, so closer was not. But
still did it, though.
But again, it's part of the reality. You may find yourself in that situation, and you know, I liked that out of the bullpen. I thought that was much better for you, kind of psychologically, to feel like you could be out there, make a difference that day, may or may not, be ready for it. And then the next day it'd be the same thing. You were more like an everyday player, more like a bench player, I guess, that you know that you might factor into the game, but you don't have a lot of time to sit around and think about it.
That's what I mean, the buildup of that.
You're not sure what the situation's going to be.
Here's a 1-2. Ground ball hit to short. Lions doing a very nice job so far. 2 down.
I see Lyons as potentially being a kind of a hybrid guy that could be, I don't know, necessarily a late inning guy. I guess certain lefties, why not? But you'd see him as a reliever that could throw maybe multiple innings or be a spot starter. I see that as a valuable guy to have in your staff.
Here's Andrew McCutchen with 2 outs, nobody on. And that pitch taken low.
If you're the hyper type, especially, Whitey Herzog loves to tell the story of Jeff Lottie, who had been a starter in the Cincinnati Reds organization. Lottie came to the big leagues, and he told Jeff he was going to start one game, and Jeff went out to warm up about an hour before the game, throwing a weighted ball against the wall. And he did that for like 20 minutes, and then did some stretching, then did some running, then did a bullpen. It was about 35 minutes long, and didn't get out of the first inning because he was so hyper about being a starter. And Whitey's feeling always was the hyper guys, they're relievers. And if the guys that worry, the guys that overthink, make them relievers. Take thinking out of the equation for them.
Ground ball, left side. Carpenter makes the play. They get McCutchen. Lions has settled in. 7-2 Pittsburgh. back in with Jim Hayes.
Yeah, Yadi Molina had quite a night for himself last night. The double RBI, triple stolen base, threw out a runner in the top of the first. Yadi was a little more demonstrative than usual. Mike Matheny disputing the notion that Yadi seemed particularly energetic, but he told me Yadi, most notably after throwing out Polanco from his knees, quote, responded differently than we're used to seeing. Mike added, I like when the guys show emotion. The fans feed off it. The whole team feeds off it. He admitted the series brings it out. He told me there's an extra buzz. You can see it. You can feel it. Dan, the way Yadi's playing, pretty clear he feels it.
Yeah, and we talked about that, Jim, to start the game. Just how he set the tone and asking the crowd to really get into it. And there's no question it did. A broken bat, slowly hit towards the middle. Walker falls down. Infield base hit for Colton Wong, and Walker, all he can do is smile about it. BJC Healthcare difference maker, Yadier Molina. Look at the catcher's ERA. Just handling this young staff in all the innings. Molina tops in all of baseball in terms of innings caught. Salvador Perez, Montero, Caleb Joseph. 33-year-old logging all those miles, but what a difference he is behind the plate.
And doing it with a very young staff, too, so you know Yadi's leading the way. And one of the things I like about Yadi, and I heard him talk about it after the game yesterday, how he likes to kind of switch things up. He feels like he has to help with the adjustments from day to day because he knows the Pirates, as he said, are a smart team. So they know what we're doing. We know what they're doing. So we have to adjust quicker than they do. And I think Yadi has such a high baseball IQ, and that really goes into it. The way he calls the game, the way he helps his pitchers make those adjustments, I think is pretty spectacular.
Ooh, a low strike, and it's 0-2.
Interesting infield hit here. Whose ball is this? Is this Gung's? It hits off the mound, so it's going towards Walker, who kind of trips over his own 2 feet a bit, but Gung passing in front of him. I don't think either one of them would have had a chance to throw out Colton anyway.
Here's an 0-2 pitch to Piscotty. The check swing he held up. Cardinals outfielders really been chipping in lately. Cardinals have won 6 of their last 7. Grichuk, Hayward, Piscotty, all with 5 RBIs in that time frame. If you think about it, all 3 weren't even here this time last year.
Cardinals are a flare and a blast away from being in this game.
You don't say flare, you always say bloop and a blast.
I thought it was time to say something different. Perhaps I'm being affected by the meteor shower.
Clearly. Every time it's a bloop and a blast, and the Cardinals might be back in it. I've heard it a million times.
I hope I don't say it like that.
Here's a 2-2 pitch. Piscotty hits into a double play. 4-6-3. Out at first. How about that feed from Walker? We'll see if the Cardinals want to challenge this, but a nice feed there from Walker as Gung had to get to the bag.
Yeah, kind of a fumbly play. It's a backhand feed. Gung, not sure he touched the base or not. It looked like he walked over the base. Maybe that's the neighborhood thing that we've been dealing with. Here's the flip.
I did think he got it.
Still was a slow transition, and then the play at first base. He's out there. But an awkward stretch too by Alvarez. That just did not look like a sweet, typical major league double play.
Smooth.
No, it was not smooth at all.
I thought Gung did a really nice job with Wong sliding in to touch the bag and then avoid the slide. And it makes me think of your former teammate, the Hall of Famer Ozzie Smith. You'd see him step on the bag and jump and throw at the same time to avoid that base runner. Backhanded by Walker, and the Cardinals are down, and we head to the 5th. And a beautiful night from Busch Stadium in St. Louis. To start this game, it's 7-2 Pirates. Top of 5 rolls in. Along with Jim Hayes and Rick Horton, I'm Dan McLaughlin. Nice note here. Tim, Jim, Doug wanted to express best wishes to a huge Cardinal fan, Mr. D. Dotem. So best wishes to Mr. Dotem. 7-2. Pirates leading St. Louis. Slow roller up the first base line. Piscotty will tag out Gung, and there's one away. Looks like a soccer match. We're going to have one of those World Cup qualifiers coming up at Busch Stadium.
I don't believe I've ever seen that at a Cardinals game. It's going to come right below us here in a moment, Dan.
Pretty soon, as Jim Hayes always likes to say, he hopes they start the wave along with that. Get the wave going. I know Jim loves it. Strike to Alvarez.
Lion so far has everybody off balance. Doing a nice job.
Here's an 0-1. Good breaking ball. Wong won't get to that. And Alvarez has his third hit tonight. 3 for 3. Couple of singles and a home run. All have been hit to center field. But if you own that, do you get it back?
Whose is it? You and I thinking the same way. Now that's right below us almost right now. Maybe they'll send it up our way.
First hit for the Pirates since all the way back in the second.
Is this a new thing?
I have not seen that this year.
But you're telling me it might be a soccer thing.
Oh, it's definitely a soccer thing. One out, and here's Cervelli. Cervelli bounced into a double play back in the second.
Right below us. Let's see if I can't reach it. Oh, can you hold on, Dan?
Here, take that off. Take the headset off and yell at those people and say you want it.
No, they're having too much fun.
Yeah,
Pardon me. What are you all doing?
Why would we not want to try something different after 8,500 innings this year? Take the headset off and get that thing up here.
It's the rally banner.
Could be. And this could be two. Backhanded by Peralta. Cervelli is safe at first. Throw is just a bit up the line. Piscotty off the bag. And it brings in Travis Ishikawa.
Colton a little disappointed. The throw not on the money. Everything done right there, and then up the line a bit. Again, Piscotty, I think he's done fine at first base. There's no way he can catch that and stay on the bag. Hasn't really had a lot of tests so far in this game, Dan, but kind of we've been watching Piscotty because, again, he's perhaps auditioning for more time at first base down the road.
That pitch to the backstop, and so runner advances into scoring position, and that's Ishikawa.
Ball's lost in the sun. Throw to wrong bases. Double play not turned. Pass ball for Molina. Things we're just not used to seeing.
So Cervelli at second base. And Ishikawa looks at a strike. The former Giant, Chicago Cub. We'll see the Giants at the tail end of this homestand. 9-game homestand, and then an off day, and we head out west for a long trip. Arizona, San Diego, San Francisco. Boy, that's a good breaking ball there from Lyons.
It's sharp and it's late. That's what you love about it. You just can't pick it up. A couple feet in front of the plate, it just takes an immediate downturn and right turn. There it is.
The check swing did not go, says third base umpire Ron Kolpa. 2-2 the count. Take it low. Inside, and Ishikawa draws the walk. First walk issued by Tyler Lyons. He came in, runners at first and second in the first inning, gave up a base hit. That run charged to Lance Len, then got McCutchen to ground out. Scoreless second, third, and fourth, and now 2 on here in this 5th inning. So far, he's done a very nice job. With all the scoring early on, that's the first walk issued by the Cardinals tonight. And a strike to Rodriguez, who's 0 for 2. He is struck out and also popped out.
Lyons, of course, has been a starter. You mentioned 10 days since that last start in AAA. But he has stretched out enough to go a lot of pitches in this game. But at some point, going to start thinking about who's next. 54 pitches as he works here in the 5th inning.
Maybe you think about a Carlos Villanueva to finish it up. You could, depending on how things transpire. If a game gets tight, you look at a different direction. More than likely.
I think that'd be a good choice. Lyons, since he is set to lead off the bottom of the 5th inning, I think you just let him hit.
2 balls, 2 strikes with 2 runners on, and a 7-2 Pittsburgh lead.
Later in the game, you take him out, but maybe the 5th inning you let him hit. You prefer the extra 2 innings that he can give you.
Three-two pitch. Popped up. Wong helping out Borges, pointing it out. Making sure that he can find it. He does, puts it away. And Lyons has been very, very good so far. 7-2 midway through 5. a shake for just $1.99 at McDonald's. Liriano finishing up his warm-up tosses on a beautiful night here at Busch Stadium. Mentioned the Cardinals are 33 games above the 500 mark, matching the 2005 Cardinal leaders and the 2005 Cardinals team. The year of Albert Pujols in 05, he hit .330, 41 home runs, drove in 117. 129 runs scored that season for Pujols. Edmonds was second on the club with 29 home runs. The pitching staff all were in double digits in wins. Chris Carpenter won the Cy Young that year, 21 wins. He had Suppan at 16, Mulder at 16, his first season with the Cardinals. There were 4 or 5 blown saves that year for Mulder. He could have been a 20-game winner. Morris with 14, Jason Marquis with 13. One of those great runs in Cardinals history in the mid-2000s.
I wonder if there are Cardinal fans that are like me, and of course we all, you and I, Dan, have a vested interest in these guys and what they do, and been around so many great moments. But I can honestly say that there are times I have to think about which year was which, because there have been so many good teams. And I bet Cardinal fans kind of bleed into the, now was that the 04 team, or was that the was that the 06 team, or was that the 2011? I mean, if you're, I don't want to pick on other cities, but if you're in Philadelphia right now and you know the year that they went to the World Series, I mean, that year sticks out in your mind, period. And it does not get confused with other years or other players. But I think with this run right now, it's been hard to keep it straight.
Lyons grounds out to second. Travel in style while supporting your home team. Sunday, August 16th, 25,000 fans 16 and older will take home an adult Cardinals duffel bag, and 50 random fans will win prizes in their duffel bags, courtesy of the Cardinals corporate partners. Tickets and info at cardinals.com/promotions.
The other explanation, Dan, would be I'm just getting older.
That's part of it. Everything's kind of blending in.
Carpenter. Did I play with David Freese? I can't remember.
No, you definitely did not play with Freese. Liriano's got the first 2. You know, one of the players I'd love to see back at the ballpark again is Scott Rowland.
Oh, yeah.
He was one of my favorite players to watch and be around. I love the way that he hustled, how he went about the game. Never took a play off, ever.
Played hard on offense and defense and on the bases.
For me, he's the greatest defensive third baseman I've ever seen. Just watching him on a daily basis, he was incredible. I know people are going to talk about Mike Schmidt and Brooks Robinson, but you know, talking to people that are around the game, they believe that Scott Rowland is without question in that conversation.
And even in the Cardinals world, depending upon what generation you talk about, you might talk about Ken Oberkfell or Kenny Reitz or Terry Pendleton as being other terrific third basemen. But Scott Rowland had an arm and had some smooth hand. He had a lot going for him at third base.
His size, too.
Yes.
The way that he moved laterally. Ken Reitz told me he went up to Mike Schmidt and said, "How are all my Gold Gloves doing on your mantle?"
I've heard that story. Well, there was a time where the Gold Glove was given too often, not always, but too often, to guys who had the best offensive season. So it was really not what it should have been. And again, not always, but there were cases of that. And I think with the way defensive metrics are now, defensive runs saved, out of range plays, I think we have a better idea of tracking who's getting the job done on the defensive side.
Yeah. As Grichuk got a piece of it. 2-2 the count. After a sluggish start in this game, Liriano is all of a sudden settled in. 2 outs and a 2-2 pitch. Fouled back. That would be interesting to see, though, with the shifts, defensive metrics. You know, Roland and Tony La Russa, one of the first to do this in shifting on certain left-handed batters, would play essentially your shortstop position and could move well enough to do it at 6'4" or 5", whatever he was, and 250 pounds. Ties up Grichuk and the strikeout.
Your comment begs a question that we'll talk about when we come back.
It's called a tease. You've teased me.
It's a defensive
so now I'm going to
tease.
stay.
Yes. Okay.
I got to stay.
You better not go.
For the Marlins, their lone visit to St. Louis, Jaime Garcia. For the Cardinals, will come your way tomorrow at 6:30. No Stanton, no Fernandez for Miami. Fernandez dealing with a bicep situation, so they're hoping not a serious injury, and that's a good sight to see. That man in a Cardinal uniform, and he is bouncing all over the place and throwing a bit now. That's Adam Wainwright.
And if I'm not mistaken, he was doing some of his dance moves there between innings, and that's a really good sign. It's good to have him around.
Adam telling me a couple of days ago, still a few spots open for his fantasy football league. Now that shot there is about as good as it gets. Little kid getting the chance to visit with Adam Wainwright. How cool is that? That's great.
That is tremendous. Picture Adam saying something like, hey, we may need you later. Can you swing?
And the kid is, you would have to think he's a little intimidated. Wainwright, all right, let's talk about things. What's going on? How's school going? You start yet?
Well, any person will tell you that's around, works with kids, will tell you there's a way of becoming engaged with kids and listening to kids, and we're talking about some active listening going on right there from Adam Wainwright. He's leaning in to that conversation with that young man. That's pretty cool.
Or maybe it's the kid giving Adam some advice.
Looking him in the eye. Very nice.
Talk about Holiday and his involvement with children. 4 kids of his own, but all the different stuff that he does around town that many don't see, and Adam Wainwright the same way. Here's Gregory Polanco with 1 out, top of the lineup. Breaking ball taken low.
So as we tease the conversation about defensive alignment, you were talking about Scott Rowland and thinking about him playing today with all the shifts. Here's a question I'll throw your way, Dan. Do you believe it's possible that there may be a shift in the way you kind of stereotype what a certain infielder is now, because you often will have your third baseman playing alone on one side of the infield. Will you be less likely to think of him as a corner infielder, or will you start thinking about three infielders that may need a little bit more range? Will range become a factor?
Oh yeah,
in determining what a third baseman is and does? Because in the past, your corner infielders, power guys, not necessarily middle infielder types in quotes, guys that could hit home runs. That's the corner infielder. But now it may be different.
Right field, Hayward, just enough room. To answer the question, the first thing I was going to say is I think the way that you look at it, it's dictated by what that position can generate offensively from that individual. And so if that's power, you live with a lack of mobility then along the infield. But I do think in late in games, yes, I think your utility guy has got to be a guy that has got to be able to play those positions and have the range to do that with shifts. For instance, think about David Freese in 2011 getting taken out of games late for Daniel Descalso.
Correct.
Who wound up being a Gold Glover, at least a finalist for the Gold Glove that year.
Well, that and that may happen more often.
Yeah.
And may become more of a factor, and maybe become more of a factor in how you constitute your bench.
And that's my point.
Do you need an extra middle infielder type? And I keep saying that you normally think of that as a second baseman and a shortstop. But do you have to have somebody that's capable of being a real rangy player because of the way shifts have taken over this game defensively?
Now, in our profession, how do you keep score with the shift? Do you put something down differently when the third baseman is making a play that's a shortstop position type play, or a third baseman that's at second base?
I've got a perfect kind of answer to that, and I've got the perfect solution. I just wait to see what you write down.
Piscotty is there. Let's see.
F3.
Got that. All right. All right. I got to think about this. This is too hard. You're making me think. You've asked me questions. This is a tough night in the booth for me. I can tell you that. I've had to think.
Bird's eye view.
September 13th. You'll finish on the field here at Busch Stadium. Raises all kinds of money for kids in the area. Cardinals.com/6K. The sign man is here. That's Marty Prather. He's been doing that a long time. Did he ever have a sign for you?
You know, I can't remember. I just can't remember. I'm sure he focused more on the
again, it blends in
the frontline guys, but I'm going to say probably a little bit more to do with you know, there was a big team focus back in the day. I mean, it really this game is certainly focused on individuals in a big way too, but think about the teams that are well constructed. It isn't just about one guy.
So that Florimon, a switch hitter, takes over at short. Gung moves from short to third, and Rodriguez is in left. Rodriguez started at third base. 0-2 on Johnny Peralta. Tyler Lyons, by the way, coming into play tonight as a reliever. Cishek is getting loose. 11 games, 1.13 ERA. As a starter, his ERA 5.63. There's a base hit. So it gives a little credence in the numbers of what we're talking about. Is, you know, is he better suited as a reliever, as,
yeah,
you know, as opposed to a starter?
Yeah. Well, it's in some ways a small sample size still. I mean, you're talking about the length of his career. I think it's yet to be determined, but I think what we've seen tonight we like out of the bullpen.
Wainwright talking there to Tyler Lyons. Tremendous job by Tyler after the rough start for Lance Lynn, who lasted 2/3 of an inning. There's Jason Hayward, who has walked and struck out.
It's clear that when Adam Wainwright comes to the ballpark, he does not come here to hang out.
A purpose. Work out, get ready, but also teaching. You think about it too, Rick. It starts with guys like Todd Sotomayor, Pat Henkin, Matt Morris, Chris Carpenter, now Adam Wainwright as part of this great run of Cardinal baseball. But there is the links of those players that the information and the teaching has trickled down.
I think Woody Williams needs to be on that list in a big way.
Nice play by Alvarez. Takes a hit away, race to the bag, and safe at first is Hayward. And I agree with you wholeheartedly. Darryl Kyle.
Another one. Cardinals catch a break here as Alvarez does the hard part. Lays out. I got the ball. All I got to do is run with it.
He's had a tough series defensively.
Clint Hurdle talked yesterday with reporters, had a chance to visit him in his office, and Clint was talking about they're trying to get Alvarez to be more athletic at first base. And he's learning, but he's still struggling with certain plays. And he mentioned the Hayward play on the infield ground out that Hayward beat out. This would be another example.
Here's Yadier Molina trying to serve that into right. Strike one. Molina tonight with a base hit, 2 RBIs back in the first, and has also flied out to right. I'm not sure, but I think they may have given Alvarez an error on that play.
There's no error on the scoreboard for Pittsburgh. There's an extra hit for the Cardinals. If that's a hit, I don't know what an error is.
Crowd trying to come alive. 1 ball, 1 strike.
I mean, I'm all for Jason Hayward getting hits, but that's not one of them.
Right-hander getting loose in the pen now for Pittsburgh. This becomes a very big pitch right here on 3-1. Bases loaded for Colt. 4th walk issued by Liriano. Nobody out for St. Louis.
Hard decision for Clint Hurdle. You got lefty on lefty here, but you can't feel very good about where your lefty is at the moment. They put Hughes up in the pen to be able to pitch to Piscotty. Ray Search, however, gets the visit to the mound to try to coax one more out for Liriano.
Wong is 1 for 2 with an infield hit. He has a grand slam this year. Oh boy. He has a grand slam a year ago. Base hit Peralta. Hayward reached on an infield hit, a walk to Molina. First pitch to Wong. Last home run was against Cincinnati. The 1-0. Ground ball slowly hit to the right side. They'll get one, and a run scores. That makes it 7-3. Hashtag MW Data Strong Fan for the T-Mobile photo of the night. Nice of those guys to come out there and take that photo.
He looked a little stiff.
Here's Piscotty. 1 out, 2 on. Steven tonight is struck out, grounded into a double play. You get a run here, you cut the lead to 7-4. It's a different looking game.
Absolutely.
Some anxious moments for the Pirates fans.
Cardinals have kept the pressure on. In fact, Liriano has kept the pressure on the Pirates. Too many walks.
381 so far this year against lefties. Came in 8 for 19. Time is called. Piscotty, by the way, first 10 home starts. He's picked up a hit in each of those games. Only 6 Cardinals have ever done that to start their home career. The 1-1. Now 1-2. One-two pitch. Shallow right. Polanco, tremendous arm. They will not run on him. Big out for Liriano. The Cardinals need a 2-out hit from Peter Borges. Borges 0 for 2 tonight with a strikeout and a ground out.
Mark Reynolds in the on-deck circle. If Borges can keep the line moving.
First pitch to him. Peter with 2 home runs this year. He's driven in 11. Average at .219 and limited playing duty.
We mentioned good numbers against Liriano. That's why he's in the lineup tonight.
Change up taken low. 1 ball, 1 strike. The 1-2 to Peter Borges. Out of play.
You can see Peter trying to shorten his swing a little bit there with that approach. 2 strikes. Cardinals desperately need 1 more hit in this inning to get within 3. Bases loaded, nobody out. 1 run would not feel like it was enough.
Wong is running. Pitch is high. And a stolen base. That's number 14 for Colton Wong. Count runs to 3-2.
Pirates were not very much, they weren't paying very much attention to Colton Wong, and certainly Colton capable of stealing the bag, so that puts 2 runners in scoring position. I like the steal. You better be safe.
Hughes is ready for Reynolds, depending on what happens here with Peter Borges. The 3-2. Popped up. Alvarez giving chase. Has a play. Cardinals strand 2. They've left 5 on. They do pick up a run. It's 7-3 Pittsburgh. Six innings in the books, still in this game. Alvarez 3 for 3. And Lynn, a tough night, 2/3 of an inning. Tyler Lyons, great job, 5 1/3. It's the president of the Yadier Molina fan club there. He is dressed up, locked in, and ready to roll.
I wonder if he's giving signs on every pitch, too.
been over a week for Steve Cishek to come out of the bullpen for the Cardinals' 39th appearance. And our Chevy called to the pen. How about the job of Tyler Lyons here tonight?
Terrific job. 5 1/3. Gave up just 3 hits. No runs. Cishek certainly going to be an important part of the Cardinals bullpen down the stretch. Closer experience. You'd like to see him maybe kind of settle into the 7th or 8th inning guy as an option. You know, the news hasn't been great on Jordan Walden, who we were hoping to have back by now or close to it. And you know, he was the guy that was going to be the 8th inning guy this season and really had a good start to the year before he had his injury. And that was a tough loss. Of course, Wainwright was a tough loss. Matt Adams was a tough loss.
Don't forget about Matt Belisle. Two to McCutchen. Two balls, 2 strikes. McCutchen tonight with a double and an RBI back in the first. 1 for 3. Got him and a strikeout. And that's how we start the top of the 7th.
Sweeping slider from Cishek. There's the spin. Tight spin. Good location.
Still trying to find it, though, isn't he? When you think about Cishek and getting him back on track.
Well, we've seen from him, or at least I think we would both agree, we've seen some very good pitches from him, and then he makes a mistake. And the key for a reliever is you're probably going to be in there for, on a normal day for a reliever, 12 to 15 pitches. So you can't make a mistake. You've got to throw 12 to 15 of them close enough to where you want. Now, you're going to make some, clearly. But if you make the wrong pitch at the wrong time to the wrong hitter, you go from having a good game to a bad game in a hurry.
0-2 the count. Gung reached on an error, scored back in the first, and has grounded out twice. The 0-2. Fly ball lifted into deep right center field. Borges in front of the track and puts it away.
Everything he hits hard.
I mentioned this before. The Cardinals did have interest too in Gung and signed a lucrative offer from Pittsburgh. Everything he hits hard as well. That's Pedro Alvarez. 3 for 3 tonight. AT&T U-verse rewind. Alvarez part of a 7-run first inning for the Pittsburgh Pirates. That long home run to center field. That was number 17 and part of our AT&T U-verse rewind. Pretty famous date in Cardinals history being celebrated tonight at the ballpark by Lou Brock. Hit number 3,000. For a man that hit 189 in his first year of college baseball. The next year he hit 500. One of the great people that has ever been a part of our community here in St. Louis. Great Lou Brock.
I'm sure
Alvarez strikes out.
I'm sure Lou's had a bad day, but I've never been around him while he's having it.
Agreed. hits a home run, the Gateway Honda dealers donate $1,000 to the Make-A-Wish Foundation. Brandon Moss will pinch hit. And the Pirates will go to their bullpen with Joaquin Soria, the former closer, who had some really good years with Kansas City.
Wasn't having a bad year this year at 23 saves, and the Pirates have certainly shored up the eighth inning. Help for Melanson, who is their closer. He has 35 saves along with Trevor Rosenthal, but Soria is a nice pickup for them. I think Tony Watson's one of the nastiest lefties in this game. Tend to see him an awful lot, but Soria is going to make a difference for these Pirates.
So Liriano is out of the game. 6 innings, 6 hits, 3 runs. If there's anybody that really would need a home run or a big hit or just a hit period, I think it's Brandon Moss. Put a lot of pressure on himself coming to this situation of a pennant race. Tremendous ovation. He has stated numerous times this is where he wants to be. Loves the fact that he's traded to St. Louis. 2 balls and a strike.
Set an unofficial record with 6 interviews with Jim Hayes in the first day and a half he was here. I don't think that's a record that's going to be broken.
I don't see that either.
It's like DiMaggio.
One of the great streaks in baseball history. Being interviewed, what, 6 times in 2 days?
Day and a half.
Day and a half.
Day and a half.
By Jim Hayes. If that doesn't get you emotional, nothing will. Get goosebumps right now. Deep right. And again he flies out to the track. He's done that 4 or 5 different times already as a Cardinal. Saturday, August 15th, 25,000 fans 16 and older receive a collectible Cardinals Hall of Fame inductees plaque courtesy of Edward Jones. That plaque will honor the induction class of Flood, Forsch, Kissel, and Simmons. Tickets at cardinals.com/promotions.
He doesn't have a home run as a Cardinal, but he has 5 almosts.
Man. One night against Colorado, he went 0 for 4, hit 3 to the track, and the other one was a line out to second.
By the way, the almosts do not work very well in arbitration.
No, they don't. Carpenter drops down a bunt. That's how you beat the shift.
I think this is something that'll be thought about in the future when you talk about shifting. You've got a 4-run lead late in the game and you give away a base hit with a home run hitter on deck. Do you give it to him or do you make him earn it? You know his tendencies, but the situation of the game might dictate something different.
It's a great question.
I understand it, but I don't like the shift in that situation. When you've got a lead, you make the other team earn every base runner they get.
And Carpenter reads that. Zed scoots away from Cervelli. And he's in scoring position for Randall Grichuk.
Breaking pitch, blocks it. Technically correct, but the spin has it bounce off his chest protector. Good read by Carpenter.
Late with the swing. He's 1 for 3 tonight. Soria shaking his head, didn't like the location of that pitch, and I guess he feels he got away with it. 1 ball, 1 strike. Grichuk 2 strikeouts and a single to left. Outfield is straight away. The 1-1.
talk about probabilities, Dan, and I promise you this will be the last math I do on this subject. Matt Carpenter, on a good day, 35% of the time is going to reach base just naturally. If you give him a bunt that you can't defend and you're giving him a 100% chance of reaching base, how is that a service to your
I see
pitcher?
it. Yeah. The second half schedule, by the way, for the Pirates has been very, very tough. And tomorrow they'll be at New York.
Yes.
They'll face Cologne, Nice, and Locke will pitch against Matt Harvey in the third game of that series. Well, the Mets could be so dangerous if they get in because of that terrific starting staff that they have. Three and two.
Dan, is the last week of July starting to define the playoffs more than ever before in terms of what's being done in the trading deadline?
Toronto would be a good example. Tulowitzki, David Price. They've got Price going tomorrow against the Yankees. Blue Jays have won 11 straight. They won again today over the A's 4-2. They've had 2 11-game winning streaks this year.
You asked me on July 25th who's more likely to win the American League pennant, the Detroit Tigers or the Toronto Blue Jays. Might have said Detroit, sure, but a week later Detroit unloads, Toronto reloads, and now you've got an entirely different set of circumstances.
Here's a 3-2 pitch to Grichuk. I don't know if you feel this way, but when Detroit was in here, they took 2 of 3 against the Cardinals. And I thought at the time, that's the best team we've seen.
Oh, yeah, I agree.
It just gives you, to further your point, another example of the ebbs and flows of the season. This will be the 22nd pitch that Randal Grichuk has seen tonight. Now time is called. A crowd tonight of 41,501. 41501.
So when John Mozeliak tells us the last week of spring training, I don't care quite so much what my team is right now, but I care what my team is on August 1st. I think we should understand that that has significant meaning to it and purpose.
Toronto currently a game up on New York with the win today. Could be a game and a half with that series this weekend in Toronto starting tomorrow night. Kansas City an 11-game lead. They're running away with the Central of the American League. Houston 2 in front of Los Angeles, 5.5 in front of Texas. Mets have opened up a 3.5 game lead over Washington. Grichuk, a fly ball. Alvarez will chase after it and it's out of play. Cardinals the 7-game lead at the start of play tonight. And the Dodgers with a 3.5 game lead against San Francisco. The Cardinals could have a huge say. We mentioned it last night in the wild card with games remaining with the Giants series there and here, as well as what happens in the West. 3-2 pitch. Good at bat by Randal Grichuk. Peralta with 16 home runs has a chance to do some damage here.
Pirates are trying to let the Cardinals in this game.
That's the 5th walk the Cardinals have received.
That pitch not even close from Soria. They keep behaving themselves into situations where one swing of the bat turns this into a very close game.
Runners at first and second with 1 out. Peralta's been on base twice with a walk and a single. Breaking ball taken low. One ball, 1 strike.
Soria comes set. He's pretty quick to the plate. Puts his hands together and goes. Better be ready.
Lined and a base hit into center field. Carpenter being waved in. This will make it 7-4, and the tying run will come to the plate. My goodness.
So the Pirates give a bunt base hit to Carpenter. Then they give a walk. Then Peralta earns a line drive up the middle. And it's now a 3-run game. This ball was hit on the nose by Peralta. Fastball. Cuts away from him, down and away, but he drops the bat head on it. Those Pirate fans feeling the pain of the walks that they've seen from their pitchers the last few innings.
You just joined us. The Pirates knocked out Lance Lynn after 2/3 of an inning. 7-0 was the lead after the first. Now Hayward digs in, representing the tying run. He's had 4 RBIs in his last 3 games. Tonight on base twice with an infield hit and a walk. First pitch taken for a strike. One ball, one strike.
Jason's been a little bit late today. Needs to gear it up just a little quicker. A little late on Liriano. But boy, if he's on time, he certainly has the power to give it a ride.
He is due. Over a month since his last home run, and that's a base hit into right. Grichuk had to make sure that ball got down. Bases loaded with 1 out. In steps Yadier Molina. This crowd is ready to erupt.
Jam shot there by Hayward. Grichuk, he has to do this. Cannot tell off the bat whether or not that play is going to be made by Neil Walker. So he makes it the third. St. Louis loves the J. Hay kid.
This very well looks to be a double switch. Tony Watson had been getting loose in the pen, the tough left-hander. Soria records 1 out, gives up 3 hits and a walk. Michael Morse, part of the double switch. He'll take over at first base for Pedro Alvarez. So Watson, the left-hander, this gives you an idea of how much faith they have in him. A left-hander coming in to face Molina from the right side. It's our Chevy call to the pin. Folks, we have a game. 7-4. 7-4. Bases loaded. Bottom of the 7th. Molina will come to the plate, and the crowd, much of this big crowd on their feet. You are so right, partner. Tonight, the Pirates have let the Cardinals get back in this game. Tony Watson, his numbers. First pitch to Molina.
Numbers very good against Molina specifically. Yachty just 1 for 10 against Watson. One of the premier lefties in the National League. Watson often used late in the game. Normally you see him against lefties, but in this case, Clint Hurdle couldn't go any further with Soria.
And the 0-1. Inside to Molina.
And not only that, Dan, as part of the double switch, Pedro Alvarez, who has 3 hits in this game, including a home run, is out of it. I'm okay with that.
1 ball, 1 strike. Watson back on the 28th of July. Had a game in which he went just an inning and a third, gave up 5 hits, 4 earned. Since then, lights out. 5 innings, just 2 hits, no runs. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Bases loaded. 1 out. The next to Molina. Molina with a fly ball. Left field. Richard will tag up from third. Run will score to make it 7-5. 3 RBIs tonight for Yadier Molina.
Fans were on their feet for Molina, hoping for a big moment. A long fly to left. Could have been more, but certainly a productive at bat for Yadier Molina, driving in run number 5 for the Cardinals, and this is a ball game.
Colton Wong. First pitch, a strike. Wong tonight, an RBI, a stolen base, and an infield hit. 1 for 3. He represents the go-ahead run. Tying runs on base. And it's 0-2. Plate umpire needs some new baseballs. 232 against the lefties. He'd love to make that on the rise right here. $41,000 plus here at Busch Stadium, ready to erupt. Down 7-0 after the first inning.
They're having a blast here tonight, aren't they?
It's a fun team to watch.
It sure is.
Here's the 0-2 to Colton Wong. The 1-2. Long waves at it and strikes out. The Cardinals, though, pick up a couple. We've got a ball game. It's 7-5 as we head to the 8th. Sports update. All right, thank you, Pat. We look forward to the post-game show. The Cardinals bullpen this series has just been lights out. Rosenthal a couple of times, Segrist 2 innings last night. Lyons here tonight, Cishek. It adds up to 10 1/3. No runs allowed as Jonathan Broxton comes in and our Chevy called to the pen.
There's the numbers you're talking about. Broxton will try to add to them. He's only had one bad game really as a Cardinal. And really the best player on the field so far today, well, at least from a Cardinal uniform, would be Tyler Lyons. Part of that bullpen work.
You have to mix in Molina in that conversation with the 3 RBIs as well. Jonathan Broxton facing Francisco Cervelli. This season against Pittsburgh, 3 2/3 for Broxton, 3 earned, an ERA that's near 7.5. In his career, 1.62 ERA. And a fly ball that's lifted into shallow right. There's Hayward. This does give you an indication of just how good this bullpen potentially, and on paper, how it shapes up. It really could shorten games. That blueprint that the Royals used a year ago. Moss stays in the game. He's at first. Grichuk in center. Piscotty in left, and Broxton pitching.
The Cardinals have done an interesting job of shortening this game after a 7-run first inning, putting up zeros ever since. It's just amazing, really, that we've got a 2-run game here. I mean, just honestly, just think of it as 2-0. 2-0, couple innings to go. That's really where we are, and Mike Matheny very aware that his club very much in this game.
1 ball, 1 strike.
Just a Texas leaguer and a big fly away from tying this game.
Do you refuse to say bloop and a blast anymore? What's the deal?
Just trying to expand my horizon a little.
Florimon, his first plate appearance. 2 down. I like bloop and a blast, and that's what you're going to go back to. It starts right now.
I'm going to do what I want. Thank you.
All right. This copyrighted telecast presented by the authority of the Cardinals. It may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form, and the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the St. Louis Cardinals. What? What are you handing me? Oh, bloop and a blast. You just wrote it down. You won't say it, but you handed me a piece of paper.
Say it.
Goes Sam Kennison.
I'll return to it.
Good pitch. Strike 1 on Rodriguez.
There are times you remind me of him.
It's too bad we don't have any fun doing these games.
Well, this team is making it fun. Honestly, they're just a joy to watch. They play hard. They don't give up.
7 pitches for Broxton. Hope you're having some fun watching this as well. tonight's NFL preseason games highlight the schedule. How did new Patriots starter Jimmy Garoppolo look in his season debut? Who has the edge when RG3 faced Manziel? All coming up. Fox Sports Live tonight. Football is back. That cutie having some fun here at the ballpark. Cardinals down by 2. Watson still in the game. Piscotty pops one foul and out of play. 0 for 3 tonight. He's flied to right. Rounded into a double play and struck out swinging.
Really believed that Clint Hurdle did not want to use Watson in the 7th inning. He wanted him to be his 8th inning guy, wanted Melanson in the 9th, but just couldn't wait any longer.
And Piscotty hits a fly ball into right for out number 1. And you look at this game from the Pirates' perspective. You know, trying to avoid a sweep, knowing that the Cubs have posted a victory. They're right on the heels of the Pittsburgh Pirates. This is a very, very important game for them. Not to say it's not important for St. Louis, but the importance of this game for Clint Hurdle is big.
Yeah, I think so. And I think if they're still able to prevail in this game, it won't be an easy one for them. It won't be one where they kind of leave here unscathed, even if they do pull this one out, because they realize the Cardinals kind of fought back and made it tough.
Strike 1 on Mark Reynolds.
Think about the bullpen usage today. Soria, rough outing for him. Watson's going to have to get extended use today. And as you mentioned, they've got a pretty tough Met team to follow. It's a hard road trip for them. Cardinals, then the Mets.
One ball, one strike on Reynolds. Did not have very good numbers against Liriano, so started the night on the bench. The threat of power coming off that bench. Here's a 1-1. If you ever get a chance to get down to the ballpark early, take in Mark Reynolds' BP.
It is fun, isn't it?
Wow. I mean, he hits him a long, long way.
Really envision a Reynolds at bat with a runner on base.
Yeah.
And so it's a little bit kind of less dramatic moment for him at the plate now. But if he can get on, he's got Moss to follow.
Mentioned this a couple of weeks ago. It's the only time I've seen it. Maybe you've seen others do it, or some of our fans have, but I had never seen a ball land on the street and roll over to Ballpark Village. And that's what Mark Reynolds did on the fly. Cleared the stadium. Ball bounced on the street and bounced up to Ballpark Village. That's a long ways away. Here's a 3-2 pitch to Reynolds. There's nothing like watching a Mark McGwire batting practice, but this guy hits him a ton. Holiday does the same thing. Albert Pujols, you can see him put on a display. 3-2 pitch. Out in front. Popped up, got him on the changeup on 3-2. 2 down.
Jack Clark was fun.
Oh, yeah. That's a good one,
and as
too.
I think about it, I've had the experience of everybody that you just mentioned throwing to in one way or another. Either batting practice in spring training or used to throw on the road when I first started broadcasting, as Al did. And the throw to Pujols and the throw to McGwire and pitch to Jack Clark along the way. It's not nearly as much fun as coming to the park and watching batting practice. Let's put it that way.
I asked Dave McKay, did you feel pressure throwing to McGwire? Because there's 20,000 people here for BP. And he said, absolutely.
Oh, yeah.
Did you feel that way, too?
No, my pressure was only to get behind the screen.
Don't get hurt.
Yeah. If I get booed, I don't care. I'd rather get booed than hurt.
Yeah. Brandon Moss sent one to the track last time up. He's 0 for 1 coming off the bench tonight. 2 balls, no strikes. Carpenter is on deck. Shift is on here for Moss. 3-0. And remember, in the bullpen, one of the top closers that has not blown a save this year, Mark Melancon for Pittsburgh.
So if Moss was a bunter, now the count's 3-0, so we're not really thinking that way, obviously, at this point. He should be taking. But you've got Matt Carpenter who, with some power on deck, and you've got another situation where the Pirates are giving you a bunt down the third baseline. We haven't seen Moss bunt yet. Don't know if he's capable, but if he can get a bunt down anywhere, just get it to third.
Here's a 3-1. Moss rounds to the third baseman, and the play is made. In our Chevy call to the pen. Looking forward to that on the postgame show. George Kissel really is the architect of the quote-unquote Cardinal Way. There is a book, The Cardinal Way, and Mike Schilt, who's the manager at AAA, takes all kinds of notes from various people that he visits with, but much of that book consists of what he learned from George Kissel.
And I've read others. And I've read it, and there's a lot in there. There's a lot of strategy in there. There's a lot of kind of ways not only to play, Dan, but ways to coach, which I think was really part of George Kissel's genius, is not only coaching players, but coaching coaches to coach players.
How to get the best out of them.
When to say what.
Michael Morse at the plate. 1 ball, 1 strike. The former Marlin, albeit for a brief time, he's a Miami native, grew up a Marlins fan, was at their first ever baseball game as a kid, as a fan, and then gets traded away. Base hit into right. And Miami will come in with a record of 46 and 68, 16 games back in the National League East tomorrow night.
Sinker ball specialist got on the side of that one just a little bit. More sideways movement than downward movement, so Morse was able to hit it on the nose, and a pinch runner for him is Marte. We know how fast Marte can be. He had an issue swinging the bat yesterday. His hand came off the bat and wasn't able to stay in the game, but certainly doesn't affect his speed.
22 steals this year. Now Gregory Polanco, and here's the speed of the Pirates coming into play here in the 9th inning. Polanco with an RBI back in that 7-run first for the Bucks. He's flied to center, flied to left, and flied out to right.
I think it's a great move by the Pirates to have Marte run here.
Molina caught him yesterday in the first inning. 2 balls, no strikes, and this might be the count that he runs on.
Polanco checking for a hit and run, also a possibility.
(3-0). Not many walks this year from Seth Maness. Not many 3-0 counts. He's walked 8 this season, and 2 of the 8 have been the intentional variety. Three and 1. Let's see if he wants to run here. Not running. Change up. A strike. 3-2.
Almost as if Polanco is trying to give Marte a chance to run, and he hasn't.
Yeah. The Cardinals will have the top of the lineup due up in the bottom of the 9th. Carpenter, Grichuk, and Peralta. He is not running, and the pitch taken low for a ball. So a base hit by Morse, and now a walk to Polanco, and the first 2 have reached. Neil Walker with 2 hits tonight, both coming in the first inning. Triple and a run scored. He tripled off the wall in center, and an RBI base hit against Tyler Lyons, who was very good tonight in relief of Lance Lynn. Lyons 5 1/3. Scoreless baseball.
Uncharacteristic for Maness to be off with his command here. Needs to give the Cardinals a chance in the bottom of the 9th. You'll have Carpenter, Grichuk, Peralta, Hayward, Molina, and Wong in the bottom of the 9th. Notice I just didn't say 3 guys.
I noticed. I like it.
There was an inference there, Dan.
And I got that too.
You are sharp tonight, baby.
I'm on it.
Seth needs to be on the sinker right here. Everything's just a little flat for him. That last delivery, not a lot of sink to it. It's just up.
And a big fly into right. Will it stay in the park? Off the base of the wall. 1 run will score. Walker drives in a man, and it makes it 8-5.
Very atypical of Seth Maness here in this inning. That ball was down, had a little sink to it. Walker right on it. Very nearly his 12th home run of the season.
The walk McCutchen, load him up with nobody out here in this 9th inning.
certainly with Manus coming into a game, Dan, with the bases loaded, you think, okay, well, he's kind of a Houdini. He can get a ground ball, get out of it, but when it's a mess that he's kind of gotten himself into, it just kind of changes the equation a little bit.
Yeah.
Doesn't look comfortable.
Strike one to Jung Ho Gung. Reached on an error and scored in the first. He has grounded out twice and also flied to center. Ground ball. Carpenter steps on the bag at third, goes to first, and got him. Still gets a double play as a run does score.
There's Reynolds at first, and very close. Ben Hurdle's going to ask for that to be reviewed, but I believe he's out. So Carpenter able to knock down that hot smash, get the out at third, get the out at first, but another run.
Boy, what were you saying earlier about Gung? Hits everything hard.
He does. He hit that hard enough to hit into a double play
with a bobble.
And a good jump off of third, by the way, by Polanco. He read that ball well. He read it off the bat. Of course, you're going on contact. The bases are loaded, but ball hit that hard. Carpenter didn't bobble it for long, but he had no chance to get the runner at the plate.
And after he bobbled it, I didn't think he had any chance to get the runner at first.
Oh, it's a nice play.
And the call will stand. So it's a double play. 2 outs.
And let's be sure we're not calling that a bobble as if it was just a little two hopper. This is a hard smash that he knocked down. Really saved maybe an extra run there.
Ramos Ramirez will pinch hit for Tony Watson. McCutchen, your runner at second base. Melanson there in the background getting loose. Now with a 4-run lead. And Wong was going the other way, and that's a base hit into right center. (10-5) Pittsburgh.
Been that kind of night, hasn't it?
Wong going to his right with a ball to his left. Watch it.
Not sure if he just didn't see that well off the bat. Not sure he makes the play anyway, but certainly misread that off the bat of Ramirez. First, I thought maybe it hit off the mound, which caused Colton to be going the wrong way, but it really wasn't that.
Francisco Cervelli, 5-run lead for the Pirates. With this lead, you would think that Clint Hurdle would not go to Melanson. Two outs, the 0-1 pitch taken for a ball inside. Certainly not the sharpest we've seen, as Melanson is getting loose in the pen, but not the sharpest we've seen Manus this year. Has been very, very good. Line drive into right. Hayward is over, and he won't get it. That drops in and drops in the stands. Ground rule double. Ramirez stops at third base. So the Cardinals catch a break there. Ramirez may have scored if that ball stays in play. 13 hits tonight now for Pittsburgh.
Again, the sinker flat, not going downward, coming on the side of it a little bit. And the Cardinals have had bookend bad innings here tonight. 7-run first, Now a 4-run ninth. A lot of zeros in between.
Pedro Florman, the switch hitter, came in midway in this game. Runners at second and third. 1 ball, 1 strike.
Have to give you a longer list of who's coming up for the Cardinals.
Well,
in the bottom of the ninth.
It's got to be longer than it was. If the Pirates hold on and win this game, they would be 6 back of the St. Louis Cardinals. Two and 2 the count with 2 outs and 2 on. Pirates have picked up 3 here in this 9th inning.
St. Louis will have Carpenter, Grichuk, Peralta, Hayward, Molina, Wong, Piscotty, and Reynolds in the bottom of the ninth.
Get your rally caps ready.
There's a believer.
3 and 2. Fly ball lifted into right. There's Jason Hayward. So the Pirates pick up 3. A tough outing for Seth Maness. 10-5 as we head to the bottom of the ninth. Is brought to you by Budweiser. Make a plan to make it home. And by Ford, the official cars and trucks of the St. Louis Cardinals. It's been a beautiful night here in downtown St. Louis. Pat Paris mentioned in his hit an inning ago the comebacks for the Cardinals. Well, it can be done. The largest comeback wins this season. Washington at Atlanta trailed 10-2. They won 13-12. Toronto in a game in early June at Boston trailed 8-1 and won 13-10. Cardinals, after 2/3 of an inning, trailed 7-0 in this game. And it looks like Clint Hurdle is not taking any chances. He's going with his closer.
Well, he's not taking any chances, but he also hasn't pitched since the 8th of August. So he is due for some work anyway.
That young man, it's not a rally cap, but he's moved closer to the dugout. Maybe providing some good luck here in this 9th inning.
Danny, I'm going to say this just for you. 4 bloops and a blast.
Yes. Got it. There's a line drive, and that's caught. Marte battling the lights, it looked like. Marte and left. Rodriguez is at first base now, and he started at third, moved to left, now at first. Our Budweiser player of the game, Pedro Alvarez, 3 for 4 tonight. 2-run homer, a couple of singles.
There's our friend again. Not only does he have the face mask, but he's got the entire uniform. He is decked out.
Love it. Here's Rando Grichuk. Good to have Nicole Reeve from Driven TV and the Outdoor Channel. Cardinal fan, never misses a game at the ballpark here tonight. Wants to say hi to family and friends. Here's a 1-2 pitch. Grichuk pops it up. Playable, yes, 2 down.
Cardinals have had some chances in this game to come back
have.
in it, and as we mentioned, the Pirates gave them some of those chances, and they got close in the 7th inning. 7-5 game through 7. The rough inning in the 9th inning for Seth Maness, a 3-run 9th, kind of made it a tougher hill to climb, but you really have to commend the Cardinals offense, Dan, for kind of digging in, not giving up. They didn't get as many as they needed along the way, but certainly made this game interesting.
Final hope is Peralta. Had the go-ahead run at the plate a couple of times. One pitch into right field, and the Pirates will salvage 1 game in the series, and they are now 6 back of St. Louis. The final tonight, 10-5.
Not the Cardinals' night. A lot of things went wrong, especially early on. Tough outing for Lance Lynn, but I think we found out something very good about Tyler Lyons here tonight. A terrific job filling in the middle of this game, but the sweep was not to be.
Miami in town tomorrow night. Will come your way at 6:30. Much more to come with the post-game show. Pat Paris, Al Raboski are standing by. All the highlights, they'll break down tonight's game. So big night for Alvarez with a home run and 3 hits, and the Pirates salvage 1 game in the 3-game set. postgame show comes your way next.